You wanted a video about Starlink. Here's Starlink Mini. We've got Starlink Generation 3 on the roof. We're going to show you the pros and cons of both. I've just popped my head out of one of the skylights here to give you an idea of where Starlink is. We've got two solar panels at the back here, and then Starlink is just there, that big pad there, fixed to the top in a fixed position. Mounted on the roof, it also enables us to use it whilst we're on the move, which is fantastic. There's a router downstairs that's separate, which has a 240 plug, or this little silver box, which we purchased so that it could run off 12 volt, and that's plugged in through the cigarette lighter. The Starlink app is easy to use. It shows you the different stages, whether it's booting up, searching for satellites, optimizing where it is, aligning itself with orientation and things like that, and then it should connect nice and easy. Then it shows it online, and you can quickly run a speed test from there just to see what speeds you're getting. So this is just being run now, and what are we going to get? 200, and we're going to push to 270, 300. Fantastic. So 273 download and about a 21 upload speed. And you can see the power draw there, 44 watts once it's doing its thing, but it does draw up to 80 watts when it's powering on. And this is just a load of my system here showing that it's drawing 94 watts when we first switched it on, and then settling to about 47 watts. This is Starlink Mini, which just runs via a long cable, and it's got an app similar, except for it's really reliant on its tilt. So you have to get the tilt correct in order for it to function properly. And this did require us to faff a little bit with it to make sure it could see the satellites that it needed to. It tells you it's incorrect, then it'll say it's aligned, shows it's online, then we can jump straight in to the speed test. Except the speed test isn't working for some reason, so we'll go back, saying it's offline, so we need to adjust the tilt. So we've been out here now for about 10 minutes trying to get the right alignment, maybe 15 minutes, just faffing with it. It's trying to tell us where the clear sky is, how to turn it, how to align it. We didn't have any of this trouble with the big one on the roof. Eventually we did get it to align. There we are. So we can go back to that speed test then and see what rates we get. And it peaks, but then it always drops back down to about 90 megabytes. And it looks quite happy sat there with those rates coming in. And if we look at upload speeds, again, we're looking at about 22 megabytes. Back to power, drawing 22 watts of power when it's doing its thing, but it did peak to 40 watts when we turned it on, and we can see we've got no load there, and then it jumps to 45 watts. Okay, so the pros with Starlink Mini is it's light, compact, all in one. You could take it anywhere with you in a backpack. We just pop it outside, run a cable, sorted. Starlink Mini has everything in here. This is the dish and the router all in one. All we need to plug in is a power cable, and that could be 240 volts or 12 volts. The disadvantage with this is it has to be aligned correctly. We faffed for about 15 or 20 minutes trying to get the alignment right, and even then it drew a maximum of 100 megabytes versus the Starlink Gen 3, which we're pushing on 300. But the big pro for this is the power draw. It only draws or sits at about 22 watts when it's doing its magic, which is considerably less than Starlink Gen 3, which is why we've got it. So the pros with our Starlink Gen 3 is mounted on the roof out the way, nice and compact. It does come with an additional router here, but that's not been much of a problem at all. And so far we've been getting those really big figures of 300 megabytes plus of connecting to the internet. The downside, it does draw more power. And when we're not plugged in and we're off grid, we're having to run the inverter as well. So it really does suck the power out. Although that's why we've got the 12 volt adapter fitted. Having used both for the last few months in Spain and Morocco, we'll probably stick to the Gen 3 on the roof. But it is nice to know that the Mini is so compact and versatile. So that's a real snapshot of Starlink and what we found over the last few months. We were really worried about the power consumption to start with, but we've just regulated it a bit more and it's worked absolutely fine. If you've got any questions, do fire away. Equally, if you want to know where we got any of the additional kit from, leave it in the comments and I'll come back to you.